This video is on how to read climate graphs. A climate graph can tell you some pretty important stuff. So, what can you find on a climate graph is the following. Months of the year that precipitation falls as snow rather than rain. The growing season. The average annual temperature. The maximum temperature of a month. The minimum temperature of a month. The temperature range. The total annual precipitation. The seasonal distribution of precipitation. And it helps people determine where places are in Canada. Do not worry if you do not know what some of these things are. This video is going to explain each of them as it progresses. Okay, so let's get started. What is a climate graph? A climate graph is two graphs in one. It is a line graph and a bar graph of an area over an entire year. So, how to read a climate graph? First, the horizontal lines show the months of the year. The vertical axis on the left represents the temperature in degrees Celsius. The vertical axis on the right represents the amount of precipitation in millimeters. The average temperature for each month is displayed as a line graph. The average amount of precipitation for each month is displayed as a bar graph. Now that you know this information, let's ask some climate questions. What is the average temperature for the month of July? To find this, you would find the month of July on the horizontal axis. Then follow up the column to the temperature line. Then follow the axes to the left. The number is approximately 21 degrees Celsius, so this would be our answer. Now, the next question is, what is the average monthly precipitation for July? In order to find this out, again, we would go to the horizontal axes to find July. Go up to the top of the bar graph, then go to the right-hand axis to find out the amount of precipitation for July. In this case, the number would be approximately 70 to 73 millimeters. Okay, now the next question. How many months of the year does Toronto receive precipitation as snow? In order to answer this question, you will need to examine the temperature graph. Look for the point that crosses the freezing line of 0. In our example, it would be here and here. Now draw an imaginary line down from the freezing points to the horizontal axes like this. Now imagine a horizontal line running along the freezing line connecting the temperature line like this. Everything above this line to the temperature line, the precipitation falls as rain. Everything below the freezing line falls as snow. Therefore, you have 1 month as snow, 2 months, and 3 months on this diagram that falls as snow. Therefore, the answer is 3 months. Okay, the next question has to deal with the growing season. If the growing season is 5.6 degrees Celsius, how many months on average can common grasses grow in Toronto? Okay, in order to do this, the first thing I would do is draw the growing season on my graph. Since the growing season is 5.6 degrees Celsius, let's place the horizontal line on the temperature scale of 5.6 degrees Celsius. Here, approximately, is the growing season on the left-hand vertical axis. The temperature line crosses 5.6 degrees Celsius here and here. Therefore, the growing season line is approximately here. Now it is just a simple thing to count the number of months between the growing season and the temperature line. So we have 1 month here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 months. Right here is half a month. So the answer is 6.5. Now, in order to figure out the rest of the type of questions you will be asked, you need to understand some terminology. So here are some definitions you definitely need to know. What is the average annual temperature? In order to do this, all you do is add together the 12 monthly temperatures and divide by 12. What is the total annual precipitation? All you do is find and add all the monthly precipitations together. What is the maximum temperature? It's the hottest month. What is the minimum temperature? It's the coldest month. So what is the temperature range? The temperature range equals the maximum temperature minus the minimum temperature. Sounds pretty simple, but lots of students get tricked on this one. So let's do an example. Let's say that in 2016, the maximum monthly temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, and the minimum monthly temperature is 5 degrees Celsius. So how do we find the temperature range? The temperature range would be 15 degrees Celsius, subtract 5 degrees Celsius. So the answer would be 10 degrees Celsius. That was pretty easy. But let's look at an example that a lot of students get wrong and explain why they get it wrong. Let's say that in 2017, the maximum monthly temperature was 20 degrees Celsius, and the minimum monthly temperature would be minus 20 degrees Celsius. Lots of students suddenly shout out an answer that the temperature range would be 0, but this would be wrong. The temperature range would be 20 degrees Celsius, subtract negative 20 degrees Celsius. The answer would be 40 degrees Celsius. Many students forget their integers. Remember, two negatives make a positive. Okay, one last thing you need to know before we start putting this all together. That is the seasonal distribution of precipitation. The first thing you need to know is that there are only two seasons when it comes to precipitation distribution. That is summer and winter. There is no spring and fall. The second thing you need to know is that you only look at the bar graphs and nothing else. So here goes. This bar graph shows that this place experiences its precipitation season in the summer. How do we know this? Because most of the bar graphs are highest in the summer months. This bar graph shows that this place experiences its precipitation in the winter. How do we know this? Because most of the bar graphs are highest in the winter months. Now, we would call this summer distribution and winter distribution. Now, what happens when you get a graph that looks like this? When there is no distinct precipitation season, then we say the season of seasonal distribution is year-round. Okay, so let's put some of this terminology to practice. What is the average annual temperature? Well, if you added all the monthly temperatures up and divide by 12, the answer is 8.9 degrees Celsius. What is the maximum temperature of the Toronto area? Well, if you look on the vertical axis, you will discover that it is 21 degrees Celsius. What is the minimum temperature of Toronto? Well, if you take a look at the left-hand vertical axis again, you discover that the minimum temperature is negative 4 degrees Celsius. So what is the temperature range? Well, now what you do is take 21 degrees Celsius, you subtract negative 4 degrees Celsius, and that would equal 25 degrees Celsius. Now, for anyone who got a number in the teens, you forgot about your integers. Remember, two negatives make a positive. So what is the seasonal distribution of precipitation for the Toronto area? If you look at this graph carefully, you come to the same conclusion as I did. It's year-round. Well, that's it for this video. Hope it helped you to understand climate graphs. Hope you're having a great day. Bye for now.